Welcome back to the big story tonight. The Commissioner, Dr. Rosalind Akombe, resigned early this morning, citing divisions within the Commission and the inability to carry out her mandate as required. And then we heard from Wafula Chebukati, the chair, this afternoon, making a statement, also citing similar frustrations. I'm still here with my guests, Otiende Amolo, as well as David Murathe, both from ODM and Jubilee Party, respectively. I'd like us to listen in to the chair, Wafula Chebukati, earlier this afternoon when he made his statement. Listen to this.
Free, fair, and credible election. As the referee, I want to issue a stern warning to the players of this game on all sides that they should stop all attempts to interfere with the process. Failure to do this will result in consequences, as I've made up my mind to uphold the Constitution and the will of the people of Kenya, regardless of threats, intimidation, and pressure. No one side is absolved from this, and that's why my warning goes to all parties involved. Let my commission and I do our job, and we shall deliver. Interfere as we have been doing, and we shall get stuck as a country.
David, are you meddling in IEBC affairs?
Not us. It's the NASA coalition. They're the ones who are giving them conditions, irreducible minimums. They are the ones who want to show the IEBC how to do their work. They're the ones calling for meetings. And yet we have agreed that the political class must leave the independent institutions and commissions to do their job. It is the same NASA formations which have been actually committing electoral offenses. If you interfere with the preparation or try to say that an election cannot happen, like the training exercises that were happening in Western Kenya, and youths and politicians even make those utterances. Like today, we had the senator for Kisumu. He's being looked for. Those are election offenses under Section 13 of the Election Offences Act. And we're asking the security agencies and the prosecution agencies to move with speed. The IEBC must be left to do its work. There is nowhere where Jubilee has tried or purported to want to tell them how to do their work. We have not interfered with the workings of the IEBC.
Otiende, are you meddling?
Of course not. Listening to my friend David Murathe, I'm wondering, you have a house that is crumbling, it's coming down. And instead of addressing that, you want to look at which nail may have given in, and the house is crumbling. I think, let me go back to what David Murathe said. When you asked him the question about the possible resignation of the chairman, he says it would not matter because we have amendments. I mean, for me, it is unbelievable how Jubilee disregards the law and the Constitution. First of all, you must remember that the legislation David talks about has not been assented into law. So it can only be futuristic. Secondly, and I want to give David and Jubilee free legal advice, because I don't think they're getting good legal advice. And that is why they lose all the cases and then blame the court. If the president assents to that law, and if Chebukati were to resign, that law will not help them for a very simple reason. It will be declared unconstitutional. Under the Constitution, it is very clear. For every commission, 2 sets of people approved. 1, the chairperson with very specific qualifications, and 2, a member. No one is approved as a vice chair of any commission. The person who is approved by Parliament as the chair must then be appointed by the president in accordance with the law. Only that person who is approved by the National Assembly and appointed by the president can then do the functions of the chair as contemplated in Article 138(10). And there are 2. 1, that person and only that person will be the returning officer, not some member who by some legislative meddling has been declared so. Only that person can declare the winner, and only that person can deliver that declaration to the Chief Justice. If they go through with what they are thinking, if they refuse to heed to Chebukati and he were to resign, I want to assure them, none of those commissioners who they think they've reduced to robots of voting will be able to perform the role of the chairperson. We'll be in a much deeper crisis than you can imagine.
I think, Yvonne, I don't want a lot of legalese. Let us talk to the Kenyan who wants to see an election on the 26th of October. The amendments to the law were to cure some of those defects in the law. Because God forbid, anybody can fall sick. Justice Ibrahim fell sick during the hearing of the petition. They're telling us, in the absence of the chair, and by the way, I like what Chebukati has said. He has said he is going nowhere, despite all the pressure that they've been trying to exert on him to get out, because the law as it was meant that if Chebukati got out, then there was no election. And remember, they have been very determined that there is no election. One of the ways that we're going to achieve no election was to coerce, or in fact, we're very worried for Chebukati. Because the way that law was, and that is why Parliament, it's a member of Parliament, Parliament makes the law in its wisdom for the best interest of the people, because they are the people's representatives, and the sovereignty, the sovereign power is vested in the people through their elected members. So, to try and suggest that there would be a constitutional crisis, or that they'll go to court and that the law will be declared unconstitutional. I know they control a lot of the courts, but, and by the way, who told you the law has not been signed?
Yeah, that would be my next question. Has it been signed?
Please tell us.
I have no comment.
You see, Yvonne, you cannot rule a country by deceit. You can't be the vice chair of Jubilee and you are asking who tells you the law has not been signed. Yeah. Then when post you say I have no comment. One would expect that the president would act in good faith. If he's going to sign the law, you would want to know whether it has been signed, so you know whether it has come into effect or not.
Why wouldn't you tell us whether the law has been signed? It is a law for all Kenyans, isn't it?
Because it is not my prerogative. It is the prerogative of the president, and in any case, he's a lawyer. Once it's signed, it will be gazetted, and he will read the gazette. The president has 14 days, or how many, to do that. So he's still within.
Well, but we've got 7 days to an election.
My friend, it's his prerogative. I mean, you are asking me to
I'm asking
purport,
you, as the vice chair of
as
the party
vice chair,
on which President Uhuru Kenyatta is running.
We supported the amendments through the stages in Parliament, the first reading, the public participation, the passage in the lower house and in the Senate. And the last I checked, it was presented to the president when he assented to the other bills. Yeah. And he said he is
considering it.
Looking at it. He cannot just be presented with something. Who knows
whether it's been signed or not?
That's why I'm asking. He should be telling us whether he knows whether it's signed or not.
Right. Well, as a lawyer, I know it has not been signed, because if it was to be signed, I expect in good faith, it would be made public, it would be in the Gazette notice, but I cannot put it beyond Jubilee to sign some document and keep it under wraps and use it as a spring.
Gentlemen, I want us to listen to the chair of the IEBC once more, Wafula Chebukati.
The expectations Kenyans have on me are very high, yet I cannot move forward with a divided commission. Before the 8th of August election, the commission amicably worked devoid of any divisions. I cannot move forward when presidential candidates refuse to put their personal interests aside and for once serve the country.
So he's talking about divisions within the commission. Are you then comfortable with a lot of what he said? Because he did say he was staying put, but he's mentioned some of these divisions that make it difficult. Are you still confident that he can lead us through an election in the next 7 days that will be free, fair and credible?
Yes, if they follow the normal procedures of the workings of the commission. You heard the former Vice Chair Mahiri saying they arrive at certain decisions through consensus, and others, they agree to disagree.
But that was in her commission. In this one,
in this one, Yvonne, maybe you are not aware. What happened in Bomas when they were making the decision to proceed or not to proceed? It was split, 3-4. And they walked out, the 3. Because some people had very hardline positions about how to proceed going forward. You even heard what our chairman had to say today. The courts found no criminal culpability on any officer of the IEBC. NASA comes and throws names about certain people who need to go. In fact, that's one of the reasons they're having demonstrations. The chairman himself today said, for those who are alleged to have breached the process and the law and whatever, and caused the irregularities and the illegalities, that they need to step aside so that his project team can carry out. That is a back way of removing Chiloba. And yet the Supreme Court found no criminal culpability on anybody in their ruling. Why should he then point fingers or use the NASA narrative?
So that being said, David, are you then confident of that? Because it seems like there's a rift, as you put it, between the chair and the CEO of this commission. He did say without any key changes in the Secretariat, he cannot guarantee a free and fair election. So with this rift between two very important sections of the commission, are you confident of a good one 7 days from today?
No, I think it's some people who are overstepping their mandate.
Like
because the law is very clear. What is the role of the commission and the commissioners, and what is the role of the Secretariat? So you cannot be the commissioner or the chairman and then purport to carry out the jobs of the CEO. So if you want to be the CEO of IEBC, apply for that job.
So you think the chair is overreaching?
I think they're trying to micromanage the
But you still
Secretariat.
trust him to do a proper job in 7 days?
If he can stick to his lane, we do not have a problem with the way he's the head of the IEBC policy, all right? And direction and guidance, and always also checking that the Secretariat is doing what it's supposed to be doing.
All right.
But not to carry out the responsibilities of the Secretariat.
Otieno?
We have a
Otiende,
choice.
Sorry. Excuse me.
We can choose to have a formalistic ritual on 26th of October towards the end that Uhuru is declared winner and DP Ruto can then shuttle quickly to 2022. And that is all they are concerned with. But if we want to have legitimate elections in accordance with the law, we cannot have them on 26th. When you pose that question to David, can Wafula Chebukati conduct fair and credible elections on 26th? He purports to say yes. But can he know better than the person who has said no? The chairman has said categorically that unless those issues are addressed, he cannot deliver fair and credible elections. We would be in great denial to pretend everything is okay and go ahead with what we know will then be declared illegal. There are two things that emerge there. And one of them, David Murathe has unknowingly exposed. He has unknowingly exposed that they have 4 commissioners out of the then 7 who vote the way they want. And that's why he even knows the details of who walked out when. And that is the truth. That is what Roslyn Akombe said. That's what the chairman he said. The same thing they have in Parliament. They have reduced people not to think, not to act in the best interest of the country, but merely to vote. The second thing, this has been said, and the memo by Dr. Akombe exposes it, the statement by the chair. When the chair of a commission does a memo as he did earlier, asked a certain number of people to step aside, then there's a call from State House saying they will not step aside. They are put up to now. Now, it's actually a cry from the wilderness. He's saying he's hoping that they will step aside with 7 days to. David Murathe here, the deputy president, says they are going nowhere. He says, and that is very fundamental, that it has come to a situation where every decision is not discussed, is subjected to vote, and even legal advice is sought from lawyers who are biased.
Okay.
And that's very serious.
All right. I'd like to ask my final question to both of you. Chebukati, in his final words in the statement today, said he will be calling for a meeting for both sides. You each have a minute. Will the principal of Jubilee be attending? Will President Uhuru Kenyatta be in attendance if he calls that meeting tomorrow?
We have always attended, all of them.
President Uhuru Kenyatta?
The presidency is a ticket. It is a ticket between the president and his deputy. And if the president, for some reason, cannot attend, the deputy is quite capable of representing him. And he has not failed. Anytime they have called, he has not failed to attend.
Okay. Otiende, will Raila attend a meeting if it's called by the chair?
Candidate Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta has never attended any meeting called by the IEBC. Raila Amolo Odinga has attended all meetings called by the IEBC. If the IEBC calls such a meeting, and if the discussion is how do we conduct proper, legitimate, and credible election away from 26, definitely he will attend.
All right, I want to just ask you one final one, David, because initially you talked about Commissioner Akombe having committed a crime by being a commissioner of dual citizenship. Well, Article 73(8) says a state officer or member of the Defense Forces shall not hold dual citizenship.
Right.
But that the clause does not apply to judges and members of commissions. So what law were you referring to?
I'm referring to the deceit and the dishonesty where your loyalties are divided, where if you are Kenyan, you would actually not do what she did.
But it's not a crime according to the law. She may have dual citizenship, but is allowed to be a member of a commission such as the IEBC.
It verges on
it's
deception.
Just that you said it was a crime in the
deception.
beginning.
I have my own page, which I will also look at. But I want to ask our friend here before he leaves. So they're determined that the election does not happen on the 26th. The court and the constitution is clear that this has to be held within 60 days. What happens next?
I'm happy to respond.
Yes, as your final comments,
But I'm also happy to give you a copy of the Constitution, David, so that you find your own section. Because the law does not require anybody not to hold dual citizenship for judges and commissioners. And we did that for a purpose. Because we realized there might come a stage, and this is one of those stages, when you might actually need independent-minded, expert, honest people from outside the country to assist you in that transition.
Okay, we have 30 seconds. We're finishing. I'm sorry. What happens after
26?
If
we don't hold elections on 26, it's very simple. Because the day Raila withdrew as a candidate on 10, then the 90-day period automatically sets in. So we would have 90 days of discussing how to have legitimate and credible elections.
All right, gentlemen, I thank you.
He has not signed
thank you, gentlemen.
24A. How has he
Gentlemen,
withdrawn from
David
the
Murathe, who is the Vice Chair of the Jubilee Party, Otiende Amolo, who is the Member of Parliament for Rarieda. Our time is up, gentlemen. I thank you for your time. Thanks for watching The Big Story tonight. I'll see you again tomorrow. I'm Yvonne Okwara Matole. Good night.